I worked with Goibibo on intervening to enhance transparency in online hotel booking. I worked with a team user-generated content specifically for hotel business. The project assigned to me was a desktop Captivate framework. Its purpose is to showcase specific details about a hotel to the user. So when a user is browsing through hotels, there are certain queries that he or she is looking answers to. Like, is the hotel located in a safe environment, or is the restaurant food hygienically prepared? So then I went about understanding that how does Captivate framework actually works. So it collects tag-based data and segregates it structurally. And then the role of the design is to first of all decide that what those tags would be. So in case of this project, the tags were decided on the basis of space, like washroom, restaurant, etc. And then to represent this complex information in a very relatable format to the user. Then I moved towards designing the strategy. So I deliberately divided it into part 1 and part 2. Part 1 catered to the business requirements of the project, and part 2 catered to the academy requirements. So I did not want the business needs to become a restriction for my overall project. So which is why I divided it. So I took care of the research part and the other rejected concepts in the business area. I took care of all of that in the part 2. Then I did some secondary research to understand user-generated data, and I learned that the experience that users share after availing a certain service in the form of rating, reviews, photos, videos, etc. is all covered under user-generated content. And the intention of providing UGC on such platforms is to set user expectation, and also it aims at improving trust and transparency. So there have been studies that mention that users now trust other similar users more as compared with the marketing. The concept of user-generated content was born after Web 2.0 came into play. The information sharing structure changed from brands to user to more of user to user structure. Then I did comparative analysis to study how other brands are handling their user-generated content. The analysis was based majorly upon space distribution in the layout, the cognitive load of the first fold, the visibility, legibility, and clarity of the information, and how the information uploaded by user and hotelier are handled differently. For example, in the booking.com screen here, the size of the thumbnails is really small and the information it is offering cannot be read properly. Problems like these were taken care of in my design. Then after conducting in-depth interviews, I arrived at this user journey. In case of work or leisure trip, user begins with a location-based hotel search. Hundreds of hotel list appears. And then the user does a budget-based shortlisting, and then the selection of a hotel could be based upon a friend's recommendation, appealing aesthetics, or a familiar name. At this level, visceral trust plays a role because the information consumed until this point develops an impression on the user, based on which he or she makes the selection. And then while scrutinizing the hotel, specific user personas, women, families, student travelers, tend to judge the safety of the hotel location and the overall maintenance quality, but they may or may not find the photographs that answer these questions. Then family travelers prefer to ensure the hygiene of the complimentary breakfast, or they may require fully veg restaurant in the hotel. And business travelers prefer having good quality Wi-Fi, but details like such may or may not be available on the hotel detail page. And then they browse through the word of mouth of the visitors to get a hold of the actual scenario of the hotel. After all this scrutinizing, they may or may not like the hotel. If they dislike it, they move back to the stage 3 of budget-based shortlisting. And if they like the hotel, they move forward to cross-checking this hotel on multiple platforms like Google reviews, Make My Trip, Airbnb, etc. And after they like the hotel on all such platforms, they book the hotel. From the above research, I concluded this problem statement that online travel agencies provide users with user feedback like reviews and ratings to ease their decision making for purchasing a service. But users find it difficult to rely on user-generated content due to the disparity that they face in the actual experience. This project will intervene to enhance the transparency in existing online platforms. This is the current flow of the desktop Captivate framework. First, the user selects the desired location, then the desired hotel, and then the hotel detail page appears for the selected hotel. The images uploaded by the guests or hoteliers can be viewed for the specific hotel. The latter two screens will be my area of work for this project. I did a layout analysis of the current design and I I was expected to retain the design in the faded part of the screen as it is. And for the remaining part, I discovered that very little space has been provided to the hero image, as huge impactful photos usually help the users to build expectations and for the travel plans, and further convinces the user to either select or reject a hotel. And and that more than one effective image could be provided in this layout to impart maximum visual based information to the user. And in terms of information hierarchy, the visual importance given to the property highlights and tags from the guest reviews can be tuned down a bit. Existing grid of Goibibo hotel desktop experience and current design language across devices were the governing factors for the design aesthetics of this project. This was the initial stage of iterations wherein I was understanding the aspect ratio of desktop web while designing layouts. I designed carousel cum collage format for videos and photos and converted all the categories into buttons to let the user view spaces of his or her own choice in a single click. In the feedback, my manager mentioned that carousel browsing requires several clicks, and which leads to slow browsing. And also, for a good experience, minimum clicks must be ensured. Then, on self reflection, I felt that 8 to 9 buttons on the main screen are increasing the cognitive load. So, I pushed down the category buttons to a deeper level. And here, the size of frames were based on the priority of information it held, like toilets were given smaller frames than the bathroom. And here, I was asked to implement grid. Now, in the part 2 of the design, I came up with certain features to boost the visceral trust, like 360 view of the hotel locality, prioritizing high resolution photos over low resolution using algorithm to maintain good aesthetic experience, including persona based filters which will help the user to browse through only suitable hotel list to ease their selection journey. User's account can be linked to his or her social circle like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc., and only the whoever has visited this property can appear. To reduce the effort of browsing through different online platforms, Google reviews can be integrated within the same page. Enabling amenities customization, like chargeable amenities like assistance for elderly or children can be provided for family travelers, and travel agencies can keep the hotels motivated to provide these amenities by giving them a short mark of their own brand. Starting from scratch, I was able to deliver ready to execute designs, and there were several learnings in the process. Like, in addition to usability aesthetics, scalability of design must be considered. Designing fallbacks gives designer an upper hand to ensure consistency of design across all the use cases. And following grids lead to accurate implementation in development stage. And that deciding aspect ratio is a designer's call. Thank you.